Welcome to Little Hearts for Jesus, where children will learn stories of the Bible, saints, moral stories, and many other wonderful things. Please like and click to subscribe.
Welcome, super explorers. Long ago, in the beautiful land of Persia, with its sparkling palaces and golden sands, there lived a young Jewish girl named Esther. She was kind, brave, and full of giggles that made everyone smile. Esther had no parents, but her wise cousin Mordecai took care of her like a loving father, teaching her about God and sharing yummy treats after stories. Kids, can you imagine living in a grand palace one day with shiny jewels and big feasts? Let's see how God had a big, exciting plan for Esther, just like he has special plans for you too, maybe to help a friend or share a smile. The mighty King Xerxes was looking for a new queen because his old one had left. He sent messengers on speedy horses across the whole kingdom to find the most beautiful and wise young women with kind hearts. Esther was chosen among them and taken to the sparkling palace full of soft carpets and sweet smells. What would it feel like to leave your cozy home for something unknown and a little scary? Think about a time you felt nervous but excited, like the first day of school or trying a new game. Esther felt that too, but God was right there with her every step. Esther won the king's heart with her gentle spirit, sweet words, and brave smile, becoming Queen Esther right away. She kept her Jewish faith a secret, as Mordecai wisely advised, praying quietly each night. God was watching over her like a cozy blanket, placing her in the palace for a very special reason that would help many people. Isn't it amazing how God puts us where we need to be, super explorers? Maybe He's placing you to be kind to someone today. Wow, what a big adventure. One sunny day, Mordecai overheard two grumpy guards whispering a bad plot to hurt the king. He told Esther right away with wide eyes, and she bravely warned the king, saving his life like a true hero. The guards were punished, and Mordecai's good deed was written in the royal records with big letters. Have you ever helped someone by speaking up, even when your tummy felt butterflies? Esther did, and it made God smile because good deeds always matter in his big plan.
A proud man named Haman became the king's advisor and wore fancy robes, but he hated the Jewish people and wanted everyone to bow down to him like a silly statue. When brave Mordecai refused to bow, Haman became very angry and tricked the king into making a mean law to destroy all the Jews. This was a super scary time with sad whispers everywhere. What would you do if your friends were in danger, explorers? Would you hide or stand tall like Esther was about to?
The sad news spread fast like a storm cloud, and Mordecai tore his clothes in big grief, crying out loud. He stood outside the palace gates and begged Esther to help save her people with tears in his eyes. But Esther knew the strict rule. No one could approach the king without being invited, or they might face danger. Would you risk everything for your family and friends, even when it feels like the hardest thing ever? Esther had to decide, and God was cheering her on from heaven. Esther felt afraid with shaky knees, but Mordecai reminded her with loving words that maybe God made her queen for this exact brave moment to save everyone. Esther asked all the Jews to fast and pray with her for 3 whole days, eating no food and talking to God a lot. She decided to be super brave and go to the king anyway, trusting God's strength. What a big choice! Have you ever prayed when you felt scared, like before a test or a storm? Esther did, and it gave her courage like a superhero cape. On the third day, Esther put on her royal robes that sparkled like stars and stood tall in the king's fancy hall with tall pillars. The king saw her and held out his golden scepter with a smile, showing she was welcome and safe. Esther invited the king and Haman to a special banquet with yummy foods and laughter. God was giving her courage step by step, like climbing a fun ladder to something amazing. Can you picture the excitement, kids? At the first banquet, with pretty tables and sweet smells, Esther asked the king and Haman to come again the next night for more fun. Haman felt proud like a peacock, but he was still angry at Mordecai. That night, the king couldn't sleep and read the royal records about how Mordecai had saved him. He decided right then to honor Mordecai with a big parade. How does it feel when good deeds are finally noticed, explorers? It feels warm and happy, just like God's love always does. At the second banquet, with even more treats, Esther bravely told the king about Haman's evil plan to hurt her people, speaking clearly and strong. The king was furious like a roaring lion and ordered Haman to be punished instead, turning everything around. The Jews were saved with cheers and hugs, and there was great joy and feasting with music and dancing. Esther's courage changed everything forever. What an awesome story of God's help. The Jewish people celebrated with a fun holiday called Purim, full of costumes, cookies, and noisy rattles to remember how God used brave Esther to save them all. Kids, Esther shows us that even young people like you can do big, amazing things with God's help, no matter how small you feel. This week, be a hero by standing up for kindness and truth when it's hard. Maybe help a friend who's sad or share God's love with a big smile and a hug. Remember, you are never alone. God has a wonderful plan for you, just like Esther, full of adventures and brave moments. Let's all try to be brave this week and trust God in scary times, knowing He's always holding our hands. Dear God, thank you for brave Esther and for helping us be courageous too. Please give us strength to do what's right every single day. Amen.
Thank you for watching Little Hearts for Jesus. Remember to like, subscribe, and share these stories with your family and friends. God bless you.